Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Let me tell you something. Canelo and Terence Crawford. Expect 2,000 videos coming from me talking about this fight. But let me tell you something. Canelo got a secret weapon. And the Terence Crawford fans are going to say Terence Crawford has multiple secret weapons. But before we dig into this, make sure you like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Become a member to the channel. It's only a couple of dollars a month, man. And leave that donation for that fried rice and chicken wings. Let me tell you something. You see, Canelo's secret weapon is not just power. Everybody wants to talk about the Canelo power, the Guadalajara, Jalisco bombs. But it's more than that. Now, there's one thing in particular, which I'm going to get to in a second. But we also have to understand his timing, his experience, and the psychological warfare that Canelo brings to the table. Now, everyone talks about Terence Crawford, master of distance, etc. But the ring control and timing that Canelo is able to sustain when he's in a fight. If you notice with almost every fight Canelo's in, I mean, he's at some point, he tends to take control. Stays calm, keeps his composure, and his timing is on point. And I just think when you're looking at Canelo and what he brings to the table and the fact that he's facing, and I'm going to go ahead and say it because it's the truth, and even Crawford will tell you, a smaller Terence Crawford, I think we got to recognize that Canelo's ability to control pace and distance is elite. Crawford's is too. But again, it goes back to Canelo at some point taking control of the ring. And what is Crawford willing to endure to try to take control of the ring? Because that means he's going to have to go up against some heavy artillery. And the problem is, what if Crawford can't put a dent in Canelo? Well, you know what's going to happen is Canelo's going to start to control the pace, probably start to push the pace, and he's going to sit there and maintains a safe distance and close the gap when he wants to. And the fight's going to get ugly real quick for Terence Crawford. I mean, even when Canelo's output dips, he still manages, excuse me, man, to land clean, heavy shots. So even if for some reason this fight goes to the distance, if Crawford lands a few here and there, Canelo's shots are probably going to be more eye-catching. And anything Canelo does is going to sway the judges. Okay? But we still haven't got to his secret weapon. The other thing I want to talk about is the way Canelo has mastered the art of making opponents hesitate. And let me tell you something, man. Once he disrupts your rhythm, especially dangerous fighters like Crawford who rely on timing, if Canelo makes Crawford hesitate, then Crawford's timing goes out the window, y'all. That's a fact, what I'm telling you. Almost everyone Canelo fights, it's like they put their hands in their pockets, like they don't want to let their hands go. Because of that, his ability to bring the pace down to where he's comfortable and to control the ring and time people and hit them with eye-catching shots that either hurt them or if they get to the distance, it sways the judges. And Crawford has to be very careful about that because, see, the mental pressure that Crawford's going to be dealing with in that ring and what he understands now with his legacy being at stake. I mean, Canelo is going through the same thing, but I just think Canelo knows this fight is about legacy and not just about belts because there's so much that Canelo has to lose. And losing with Crawford, I mean, look, this whole pound-for-pound ranking is so subjective. But if he loses to Crawford, you think that Crawford would knock Canelo off and probably not only as a face of boxing, but Crawford for sure would cement himself as the pound-for-pound best fighter of this era. That would be a huge accomplishment. And I just don't think Canelo's cool with letting that happen, at least letting it happen easily. And again, it goes back to understanding what's at stake and the fact that they're fighting on Mexican Independence Day. And I just think that crowd, like I said before in another video, I think that crowd is going to dominate. And I just think the pressure is going to fuel Canelo's intensity, and Terrence Crawford could be in trouble. Then you got the KO bonus as the motivation. You got the smaller ring request. Let me tell you something, man. People, I get it that Crawford's special. I get it. You know, there's a lot of fighters out there who are special fighters, but you can't convince me that Canelo requesting a smaller ring, and the fact that it looks like you're gonna, I'm just stuttering like I had peanut butter in my mouth, right? Looks like it's going to be in an 18 by 18. That is a tactical move by Canelo. And what that does for him is it helps him to force Terrence Crawford into exchanges Crawford probably normally wouldn't make. Absolutely amazing if you think about it, because what it's going to do is it's going to reduce Terrence Crawford's ability to use that whole 20 by 20 and potentially cause Canelo to chase after him, which means Crawford's going to put that bait out there and see if he can hook Canelo and counter him with something big. But in a smaller ring, I just think it reduces Crawford's ability to bait and counter Canelo. And that's really unfortunate because I want to see exchanges. I want to see mash-up, crash-up. But I also like to see guys box and move and don't get hit and make somebody pay. And then round 4, 5, and 6, pick it up and go in for the kill. You know, I like to see guys box. I don't want to see a boxer runner, but I don't mind boxing. But I just have a feeling Crawford may end up having to fight a different fight that we're not used to seeing, especially in a smaller ring with a much bigger fighter. I mean, it just has like warning. I get to see it in big red letters flashing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is going to be disastrous for Terrence Crawford and his fan base. But, you know, Crawford has experience and adaptability. He's an amazing fighter. I just think when Crawford camp comes out and they say, hey, there's no sparring partner Canelo could find that can emulate Crawford's style. I think there's some truth to that. But at the same time, you know, Canelo has 70-plus fights. He's seen every style. You know what I'm saying? No, he's never fought Bud, but I mean, come on now. There's no fighter that Canelo can find to emulate Terrence Crawford. I mean, the man has 70-plus fights. He's been doing this a long time. So when you look at it like that, it's kind of hard for me anyway, because I'm fair. Remember, I'm not biased. I don't give a shit. I just like boxing. But it's hard for me to believe Canelo is going to get in there and all of a sudden feel like I've never seen anything like this. No, he's got a guy with long arms, a guy who can box, a guy who can move, a guy who can slip, counter, who's strong. Canelo's dealt with all that. But true indeed, he's never had it all wrapped up in a Terrence Crawford. So I'll give you that, man. But anyway, man, we'll see if who's going to be able to stay composed and make the adjustments. I just think Canelo's being underrated as far as him being able to do those things. Especially against a switch hitter like Terrence Crawford. I think he's going to be watching Crawford's feet like a hawk. I said this in a YouTube short. And as soon as Crawford goes to switch, I think Canelo's going to try to get that timing down. But who knows? Crawford to fight a whole fight southpaw, so you just don't know what you're going to get with Terrence Crawford. But Canelo's secret weapon is his chin, man. It's the man's chin. You know what I'm saying? That chin of Canelo is a game changer. Now, he's never been hit by Crawford, but I got to wonder, man, is Crawford hit harder than Triple G? And Canelo was at a lighter weight when he fought Triple G. He's at a heavier weight now. Canelo's been hit by some monsters in boxing. Take his shit on the chin and just keep pushing, eating them punches like grapes. So what happens if Canelo takes Crawford's shots? I'm going to tell you, all bad for Terrence Crawford because Canelo has a granite chin. Crawford has a respectable chin, but he don't have Canelo's chin. You know, I think we really need to. Maybe Jamel Charlo deserves to be praised because he got hit by Canelo on top of the head. He took a knee, which was smart, and then he ain't turned into a boxer runner. He turned into a goddamn Air Force One in there, didn't he? Flying all around the ring because he says, shit, I ain't going out like that. So what happens if Terrence Crawford gets hit like that? Is that going to just upset him and piss him off where he's like, no, it's time to bang now? He's going to come and hit his gloves together and be like, let's go? I don't think so. You got to understand, Canelo's chin is legendary. And if he hurts Crawford first, I don't think Crawford will be able to hurt Canelo at all the remaining of the fight, however long it lasts. And I'm just being fair, man. Triple G, Kovalev, Bivol, Canelo's never been dropped. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to hear no shit about Jose Miguel Cotto. That shit is a joke. If we're going to bring that up, then bring up Gamboa with Crawford. You see what I'm saying? It don't make sense to talk about those guys who buzzed each fighter. It makes no sense. But what we will talk about is how Canelo, at a heavyweight, has shown the ability to just walk through shots. You know what I'm saying? What happens if he walks through Crawford's, man? And with a chin like Canelo, he could just stay in the pocket even longer. He can bait counters, and then he can pressure guys without fear. Because Canelo doesn't just come in with his chin in the air. No, he got the high guard and everything, but whatever few shots get through, they kind of are deflected off of his gloves, or some kind of bounce off his gloves, didn't land, but Canelo ain't really getting hit that clean. Again, though, when you have a chin like Canelo, a defense like Canelo, head movement like Canelo, the output isn't what it could be. He doesn't seem to have the desire to chase anybody around the ring and try to go for the KO shot. But at the same time, anybody fighting him, I think they realize, holy shit, I can't hurt him. And that's very discouraging, especially when the guy you can't hurt can hurt you. So I think it gives a strategic edge to Canelo because his secret weapon, it really is his chin. It ain't the experience, it ain't the size, it ain't the power, it's his chin. And that's one thing that Canelo has, Crawford doesn't have. Canelo has that, Crawford doesn't have it. So I just think Canelo's going to feel emboldened to walk Crawford down and go for the KO and get that KO bonus. Seems like every day they're trying to bubble up how much the KO bonus is going to be. We know it's going to be millions, whether it's 1 million, 10 million, 15 million, we don't know, but it's going to be more than $1 million. So let's just wait and see how it plays out. But I think Canelo's going to want that KO bonus. I mean, I think it is dangling a carrot in front of these guys, and it's a matter of who really wants it. And I don't think Crawford is motivated by a KO bonus because that means he has to be forced into exchanges and try to chase down somebody who's impenetrable. And I just think Crawford's gonna be like, man, forget that KO bonus. Let me just get the victory. Anyway, don't sleep on Crawford either now. You got underrated toughness. Crawford is a very tough fighter, very durable fighter. I don't even think Crawford, when he fought Porter, he got hit a few times, but he didn't look visibly hurt. With Spence, he wasn't never hurt. I've seen Crawford get touched up. Kavaliauskas hurt him, but he could say he wasn't hurt. His ass was hurt. But nobody really. He never really been visibly like hurt and staggering around the ring and looking crazy. Once he started moving up in weight. So I think Crawford has underrated toughness, man. But he's moving up 14 pounds, so 168, 160, 168. 168 is a different beast. It just makes you wonder, man, if Crawford's chin doesn't hold up, even if he's landed the kitchen sink on Canelo. Now, Canelo lands some shit on him and Crawford's chin doesn't hold up, it's going to be all bad. But if you ask me, whose chin do I think is going to hold up during the fight? If someone lands cleanly, if they both get wide open shots, their best punch, who do I think will get hurt the most? I think Crawford will. I'm just being real with you. Y'all got to understand, Canelo, there's no rehydration, there's no claws. Canelo will come in and fight 200 pounds. Canelo may come in and fight 200 pounds, something crazy. Could be good or bad, but whatever he normally rehydrates to, he's going to rehydrate to it. Canelo going to be a big boy when he comes in that ring with Crawford. And with Crawford, it doesn't make sense to me to Crawford to try to come in the ring at 180. Crawford's used to being fast, being agile. I mean, if he can somehow keep his speed and power, great, but I just don't see Crawford, really a 147-pound guy, going to 168 and keeping that same speed and power. Plus the gloves are 10 ounces instead of 8 ounces. So it just has all bad written across it if you're being fair and just looking at the black and white. You know what I'm saying? On paper, when you look at this and when you're breaking this down, it just looks all bad for Terence Crawford. Now, if you start to really peel the layers back and take a peek behind the tent flap, well, then that drives more conversations to where you can say, well, hold your horses, let's not take it to the stupid. Crawford really does have a chance at this, but if you just present it all in black and white, the shit looks all bad for Terence Crawford, especially with the secret weapon that Canelo has, which is his chin. As a result, you got to say that as far as the mental fortitude, you got to check that box for Canelo, not Terence Crawford, man, because Crawford ain't banking on his chin to hold up. You don't hear Crawford talking about, my chin, I got the best chin in the business. He ain't coming into that fight praying to the boxing guys that his chin holds up. He ain't trying to get hit with shit. Canelo don't care. Canelo I ain't worried about it. Canelo my chin, mi barba. Barba is beard in Spanish. Mi bigote y mi barba, my mustache and my beard. That's what Canelo talking about. He ain't worried about nothing. It's for Crawford to make him worry. Anyway, Canelo knows anyone can be knocked out. Crawford knows anyone can be knocked out. And if anyone's going to get knocked out in this fight, I'd have to say, as a result of chins, I'd have to say it'd be Crawford. But, hey, you just don't know. That's what makes this fight so interesting is we don't know. And you may say, well, nah, man, why you keep talking about Canelo's secret weapon in his chin? That really doesn't matter. Man, hold your horses, man. The chin doesn't matter. Let me tell you something. That chin matters. Because if someone's chin gets cracked, that's not just a loss on the record. We're talking about a legacy shift here. This is a big damn deal, especially for Canelo. So you better understand, it doesn't matter how great Canelo trains, how great Crawford trains. The one thing Canelo has that he doesn't have to train for is a chin, is a beard. You know what I'm saying? And so he don't have to train for that. That's just something he has. I think Crawford is going to have to do some training to try to strengthen up the neck muscles and be ready to get hit by this goddamn Mexican bull Canelo. It ain't no joke, man. If Canelo's chin holds up, he's going to take extra risks that most of y'all are thinking he wouldn't take against a guy like Crawford because he got so accustomed to seeing Crawford hurt and knock guys out in a lighter weight class. But if Crawford hits Canelo with the Omaha, Nebraska bing bings and Canelo just starts laughing, that shit is over for Crawford. I'm telling you. Canelo going to start high-stepping and chasing his ass around the ring like he did Billy Joe Saunders. And Crawford going to be on that, don't feel me now? Betty. He going to be flying all around that goddamn ring. But if Crawford's chin holds up, well, now he can frustrate the shit out of Canelo. You know what I'm saying? He can bait him, he can counter him, and next thing you know, you got Canelo making mistakes. And that shit is all bad for Canelo. But you just got to wait and see, right? Anyway, don't sleep on Crawford, but don't sleep on Canelo's chin. That's the secret weapon, y'all. Y'all can say what you want. Crawford sparring this guy, he's sparring that guy, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's eating his vitamins, saying his prayers, like, get WWF, Hulk Hogan, Junkyard Dog. That shit don't matter. Because if his chin can't hold up, the way we know Canelo's chin can hold up, could be lights out for Terence Crawford. Anyway, keep cool. Think I'm doing no more videos. I'm about to go chill in the breeze.